Oh, it's right here.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I was thinking, yeah, the electric, something about electron. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a clock here. But yeah, that one.
I thought it was like karaoke where it's like at the front of the stage.
Oh yeah, wouldn't that be nice, huh? Yeah, no, it's right here. And I don't know, I mean, it's obviously the wrong time, but I don't know if it's moving or not. Oh, you can't see because of the chandelier. Yeah, so you've got your, okay. But we want to keep to our time because we do at 10:45 have one of our panelists coming into us from Kyiv, so we want to keep on time so you have a break before that. But we're so delighted to see all of you here today. Is it a wonderful day to learn and talk and think about art? I would say absolutely. So thank you for being here for day 2 of the Roger W. Moss Symposium, Cold Cut Craft, the History and Practice of Collage. We are so glad to see all of you here, as well as our many guests who are joining us virtually, including our guests who are in Ukraine. We are glad to have you here with us today. Afternoon, evening for you, morning for many of us, and we're glad you're here. After a fabulous start yesterday afternoon, thanks to Alex DeCourte and Yuval Etgar, I think we are well prepared for more in-depth and provocative conversations with artists and practitioners. And so I want to turn over today, this morning, to Jake Dombroski, who is the head of Collage Philadelphia, to say a little bit about Collage Philadelphia and introduce and lead our next panel. But welcome to all of you. Glad you're here.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Jake. I'm the director of Collage Philadelphia. I would first and foremost like to thank the Athenaeum and their amazing staff for making this possible. We couldn't have done any of this without their invitation, so we would like to say thank you. Thank you to the Collage Philly team that has also supported these efforts. We have a great group of people behind us working behind the scenes to make many of our initiatives happen. 2 years ago, this community was just an idea, and now we're able to celebrate this gathering of collage with you all, and it truly is a dream, so thank you again. And thank you to our sponsors, the Roger W. Moss Symposium Fund, Poor Richard's Charitable Trust, PNC Bank, and Collage. Without further ado, welcome to Cold Cut Craft. For this first panel, we've assembled delegates from some of the most notorious collage communities around the country. Sorry? Oh, yes. Well, I mean, you know, well known, you know?
I like it.
I felt it felt appropriate.
It's a good word.
Please give a warm welcome to Collette Elliott of the Portland Collage Collective. Christine Vilutis of the Chicago Collage Community. And Stacey Burgay of the New York Collage Ensemble. So we'll start with introductions. Collette, would you like to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Collette Elliott, and I am the founder and co-leader of the Pacific Northwest Collage Collective. We cover British Columbia, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, and Alaska. Yeah, we're out there. But there was a need, and we've been going since January 2021. And I just want to say this is my family, and now you guys are my extended family, which is very exciting. But when we get together, I just feel like I'm with my family, and it's the most amazing feeling. But this is my passion. This is where my heart is.
I'm Stacey Burgay, an artist from New York. I'm one of the co-founders or founding members of the New York Collage Ensemble, a group that came together because we wanted to connect people through the joy of collage, collaboration, and connection in the New York area community. And the one common thread we all have is that we found the joy of collage and community, and we wanted to keep giving that, so, yeah, a little bit. Oh, or you're showing photos. Should we talk about the photos, or are these just
we could circle back. I was hoping that we would cover all of the exhibitions, but we can definitely do another lap, I think. Did you want to pass?
The New York Collage Ensemble, well, the first meeting of the New York Collage Ensemble was right before the pandemic, and then we all know what happened during the pandemic. And we brought our meetups online, and through doing that, we ended up meeting people all over the world. And it was truly special and something that we wanted to continue doing. So we mostly kind of just started doing in-person meetups in the last 2 years, 2-3 years-ish. We did some with the masks on towards the end of COVID, but we've been able to do community collage exhibitions, so we've given people in the New York area an opportunity to show their work, and we as a group there's 7 members of the founding members of the New York Collage Ensemble, and together we've exhibited our work as a group. Scandinavian Collage Museum, DF Art Project in Paris, France, Sarah Best Restaurant in Upper West Side, G Black Gallery at Washington, Connecticut, and then Yellow Studios. And the group has been a wonderful source of support and collaboration, and we just love bringing collage to the community, and wherever we go, we're trying to find like-minded people. Yeah.
I'm Christine. I'm from Chicago Collage Community, and just in love with the art form, in love with the community. We're coming up on our 2-year anniversary in November, when my co-founder Charlie Taylor found my work at a small West Town gallery in the bathroom, and was like, hey, there's another collage artist in Chicago. And so the two of us got together that November of 2022 at a coffee shop in Uptown, and decided then and there that there's got to be more collage people in Chicago. There just has to be. And let's plant a flag and have them gather around, and as many people want to participate as possible. So we're pretty excited that we've been around for 2 years. And one of the first things that we did was Chicago Lodge online, but we're also doing meetups bi-monthly, and we've done a few shows where some of the people who have shown in the shows, that's their very first exhibition, and some of them are still exhibiting at other shows to this day, and we're just so proud of that, especially that we gave them a forum to do that.
A few more of the group shows. You have multiple curators.
Yeah, and after year 1, we brought on curator and fellow artist and attorney, Miranda Livingston. She's just a phenomenal person, and she's one of our point people. And then we've brought on 2 other people to help with the curation of Instagram, because we all know that Instagram is a place where collage lives, and doesn't die there, definitely. It grows from Instagram, because that's where most of us have met, and now we're meeting in person, and that's just beautiful.
Well, it seems like you have a large amount of programming going on, and your first magazine coming up. That's exciting.
Yeah, we are doing Chicago Collage Magazine Volume 1. That's coming out November 15th. If anybody's in Chicago, we're going to be at the Fulton Street Collective having a big party for our first magazine. It has 30 Chicagoland artists featuring 37 of their artworks. And we're going to have the actual artworks in the show that are in the magazine, and it's just going to be a great time. And we're going to be selling the magazine, so look out for that.
I'm going to go back to Kellette just to make sure we don't gloss over everything that P&W is doing.
All right. So we meet usually about every other month, sometimes every month. We'll meet in people's homes, libraries, galleries. We will just, anybody that'll take us for free, we will gladly show up. This was an event this past year. Powell's Bookstore is the world's largest bookstore in the world. That was funny. And we had the opportunity to have an exhibit on the wall up there and do a collage meetup. And it was so much fun. And then the next photo, I think, was me and the founder. So the original founder is Laura Wheeler. She's cut and placed, but she ended up moving to Michigan. So now I have a new co-leader. But yeah, we would do art exhibits in small like shops and galleries in town. But then we also would go large scale in like the state of Washington and stuff. So, and we love to raise money for charity when we can. Here's another World Collage Day. That's like, if you guys don't know, that is like our Christmas in the collage world. And so we just love to get together, collage, and just celebrate the medium. And this one, we raise money for like a local soup kitchen. And the way we do that is we just have a bin and it's in like a QR code. You can put money in the bin or just scan the QR code and donate money that way. But we feel like if we're all coming together, we might as well help a good cause. And then one of our big things was artist trading cards. We started doing this during COVID as a way to connect with people around the world without having to see each other. And so all we did on Instagram is just say, who wants to participate in an artist trading card exchange? That's all we had to do. And then everybody else commented, and they would be like, yeah, I'll do 5 cards. And then somebody would respond and be like, I want to be one of them. And then somebody else would be, I want to be. So we didn't have to do anything else. It was amazing. But we created like hundreds and hundreds of cards that got exchanged all around the world from that. So that's something we're proud of. And this was our first exhibit. Because it was during COVID and all galleries and stuff were closed. One of our members, Clive Knights, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with, he just built a gallery on his fence outside in Portland, Oregon. And we did an international open call for our first activity as a collective. Why not go big? And so we collected, it was a juried show. They emailed us their files, and then we printed them on waterproof boards. And so in Portland, Oregon, where it rains all the time, they were not affected in any way. And then we ended up donating all of that artwork to a local organic farm as decoration on their fences. So the artwork is still alive today, which is great. And then this is our first big show in a gallery in Wenatchee, Washington. And you would be so surprised, about 30 people from Portland, Oregon drove, what was it, 3 hours or 5 hours? 3 hours up to Wenatchee, Oregon, which is in the middle of nowhere. And we had the show and did a collage meetup, and just a bunch of Oregonians went up and took over the town, and it was amazing. So, and this is just us. And then the big thing I think we all agree with is we want as many people coming to our events. So we have 6-year-olds and we have 85-year-olds, and they're sitting at the same table, collaging together with smiles on their faces. And it's just the most beautiful thing in the world to just see everybody is welcome. That's the goal of, I think, all of us, is we want as many people collaging as possible. So.
Yeah, accessibility is so important.
So important. So yeah, and this is just one of our slides. This is all we did, I swear. And then it was just like hundreds of people signed up. It's so cool. So yeah, and this is another picture. And like I said, we're family. These are my people. So there we go.
Jump forward to Collage Philly. So we started in the summer of 2023, in July. I wanted to kind of kick off starting a community with a bang. So we had a large open call that culminated to a group show at a gallery in Manayunk, the Look Listen. We paired with a local brewery to create a Collage Philadelphia beer just for the event. That was a big hit.
So cool.
It was pretty fun, and who knows, maybe we'll bring it back. Thank you, Twisted Gingers Brewing, for partnering. But the show was just incredible. It was wall to wall, like you could barely move. Luckily, it was after COVID. From there, the sort of second largest event that we had was a one-day collage celebration at Paradigm Gallery. Beautiful gallery in the area. If you haven't been, please stop by. We called it Collage Fest. It was a one-day festival. So 4 guest speakers, 3 workshops. We had a band play. There was food. It was kind of like a relay race. We packed in too much in one day. Anyone who was there could probably attest to that. But really fun, wild day. We got to hear from a bunch of different perspectives and try new techniques. It was really something. We had cyanotype collages. We did lift transfers onto plates, so Polaroid lifts, taking a photo of a Polaroid, lifting that onto a surface and applying it to, a new surface. So just a jam-packed day. We've had other meetups and events as well all over the city. We also celebrate World Collage Day. We did that in partner with Philadelphia Collage Works, another local group here. I know we have a couple members in the audience today. We have done stuff at Jefferson University, co-working spaces. We are at Barnes on the Block, which is the Barnes Foundation block party. So, a lot of meetups and events, but the organization is slowly shifting towards more programming, which I'm really excited about. Being able to offer more to the community is always something that I find really special. So I just wanted to wrap up on a couple quick stats from Collage Philly, kind of like an address to where we're at and where I'd like to be. This year we obtained our nonprofit status. This allows us to take on sort of more major collaborations as well as fundraise and continue to do the good work that we're doing. Obviously the symposium that we're at is an incredible feat. We had 3 exhibitions, 7 workshops, several meetups, and the first virtual archival of an exhibition, which was for Paper Trails that you could see downstairs, which closes today. So make sure you soak it all in. 2025 goals would be obviously more workshops and events. I would love to do some sort of publication. I've been calling them cluster shows in my head. I would love to pair artists together, like 2 or 3 artists, and see how they kind of take over a space. I think that would be particularly interesting. And I'd like to get into public works. I mean, we have the most murals per capita in this country, and there are techniques in which collage artists can, utilize that same thinking to take over public space. So that's something that I'm publicly manifesting to you all. And then obviously more collaborations with institutions. This has been so fruitful and such a beautiful growth period. We'd love to continue that. So now on to sort of the more talking discussion portion of this. So we kind of briefly touched on membership and what that means. And Collage Philadelphia doesn't have membership. I didn't really want a paywall. I try and make things as accessible as we can have, but there's also value in membership too, and I know that other people do things differently. How do you guys manage active community members, or what does the structure look like for that?
I'll start. In the Pacific Northwest Collage Collective, we have 2 leaders, and you'll find that we all run things differently, which I think will be a lot for everybody to learn from. So we have 2 leaders that kind of make all the decisions. And then new members can reach out to us via direct message on Instagram. They can email us. And then when we have new events, we always encourage people to bring a friend, bring your kid, bring somebody with you. And then we have a sign-up form where people can sign up, or a QR code that they can scan and go to a digital form. But once you're a member, you are just in for life. And you get signed up for our newsletter as well. But we're the same. There's no cost to enter. Like I said, the only time we really collect money is for charity. Ways that we have made some money is we've had some of the members design t-shirts, and then people can buy them, and then we take a little bit of profit and we let the group know that that's where the money is going. So that's how we pay for some like glue sticks and stuff like that. But yeah, at this point we're about 300 members that are signed up, and then we have like 5,000 followers on Instagram. So it's pretty wild and big. We love it.
I'll take the next. So New York Collage Ensemble, necessarily our structure is a little bit different. So as Collette said, everyone you'll hear today, structures are different, and it's good to hear a little bit about that because everyone's so different. So that there's no right or wrong in collage, and that's one of the things that I think is so special about having a panel talking about this, is that the 7 founding members meet once a month as a group to talk about what we want to do in the community and what we want to, try to do as artists. And we don't necessarily have a membership. We just invite people in the community. We just let them know where we're going to be, when we're going to be at, and we just invite them in. And we have a lot of people that come to each of the events, and we have new people each time. And it's always such a joy when new people find us, or when we have, we did a first community collage show last October, I think around this time. And we invited people who we met through our meetups to show their work in a community space, in a gallery. We just, put it up the same day we took it down. We just invited everyone, and there were several people in that show that it was their first time showing their work in a public space, and we're so happy to be there. And I felt connected to that because I had that same experience. And so that's kind of how we're structured. And, it's when you're trying to, the 7 of us just trying to get our schedules aligned is always a bit of a struggle. So, it is interesting to, hear how everyone else is structured in terms of whether they have co-leaders or leaders, or it's just, designated people. So it's good to see that there's, no right or wrong way to do this.
Yeah, and in Chicago land, because we kind of take in all of Northwest Indiana, we take in some of Michigan, Wisconsin, different parts of Illinois that are outside of the Chicago city limits. We're kind of making sure that everybody's involved around that area. We, Charlie and I are the point people, or have been the point people, the co-founder and I. And we brought on Miranda to help us with curation and to get another perspective and another person involved. And we've got a few other people, but we're pretty amorphous. That might not be the right word, but we don't have paid membership. We just put out on Instagram that we're going to be meeting up, and anybody can come who wants to, and we go throughout Chicagoland, so we try to be accessible to more people because Chicagoland is so large. And we basically have new people coming every single time we meet bi-monthly, and then we have some people who are diehards who come every single time. And we've done a few shows where we've done open calls, and we've done the open calls for free. We also did, when the magazine, it was a free open call. The way we financed the magazine was through the other art fair, Chicago. They invited us to come and put on some workshops in 2023. And we made a little bit of money off those workshops, so we financed it towards the magazine.
So that is a great segue into the next question. We're talking about meetups, but also the workshops are something that we offer to the community. Not just building the community through linking up and having members come together, but what we're projecting outwards. Are there any workshops that resonated with you that you did that you said, wow, we really have to do that again?
Sure. Yeah. We had one of our members, Bridget Bramlage, do a Rip It Up workshop where there were no scissors involved. It was all ripping and tearing, and that was just one of the most fabulous things. We had about 25 people come, and people really were inspired to try something new with their collage and drop the scissors. And that doesn't mean you have to give up the scissors, but at least try something new. And we're really looking to find more of our members of our community to do more workshops like that. We're in talks to do more.
It's awesome.
And, I don't know, every time we tried to have a workshop, people just come to Collage. So, yeah.
And for us, it's a little bit more informal, where a lot of people might be interested in tape transfers. And it would be like, all right, I'm going to do a tape transfer little workshop off to the side. If you would like to learn, come join me. Otherwise, you can keep collaging. So ours are a little bit more informal, but man, we love learning from each other. Everybody's got something up their sleeve, you know?
Yeah, nothing beats learning a new technique or a different way to look at things, I think. So, being a community organizer isn't easy. A lot of times we're taking on a lot, and many of our teams are sort of nimble. What are some of the obstacles that you guys have faced running these collage communities?
I guess I could take that, but I kind of also touched on it a little bit. At least for our group, the hardest thing is aligning our schedules. And Susan, Orit, and Amy, we're part of the group. We're here front row, so you can definitely introduce yourself if you haven't met them yet. Just finding the time for all of us to come together, kind of bringing topics up, discussing them, deciding as a group whether we're going to commit to something or not. Because we've had opportunities brought to us that maybe didn't feel right to some of us, and so we would talk through like whether we would participate or not based on, certain factors that were important to our values and what we wanted to commit ourselves to. So I think the biggest challenge is when you're doing something out of your heart and you're volunteering your time, it's not your job, it's something that you're doing because you enjoy it. Just finding the time to do it and aligning it with 7 other people has been, I guess, our biggest challenge. But when we do get together and what we have planned so far has been more than I'd ever imagined we'd do as a group when kind of I joined. Since, when I first met the New York Collage Ensemble through Isabel Milkoff, one of the co-founders that started with Susan, she met me because I was kind of doing my own thing. And I didn't realize there was another community. And so that's a lot of people don't realize there may be other people doing it. And it just kind of, the more you kind of start to put it out there, the more you start to link up with other people. And, it's sometimes easier to do it on your own because you don't have to agree with 7 people what you're going to do. But having the community of whether it's another person just makes it easier than like doing it on your own. But then, like I said, there's the challenges of schedules and, coming to an agreement, and that's why sometimes, you have less people kind of making decisions, but yeah.
Yeah, the challenges for us is that we are all mothers who are in the leadership panel of the collage community. I have my 5-year-old, soon to be 5-year-old, and a full-time job. And Miranda is an attorney, has a child. Charlie just had a baby in August and still managed to put the whole magazine together. And she already has a child as well before that. And so balancing our dreams of making community in Chicago is just one of the biggest challenges that we've had.
Sometimes it's things like that. Sometimes it's just snow. Like one time we had to reschedule a meetup at a brewery that was in a hilly area, and we had to reschedule like 3 times. It was almost comical. At one point I was like, if we have to reschedule one more time, I'm just gonna dissolve everything. But yeah, no, it's great to have a great team of people behind you, and I think we find more often than not we're all willing to jump in when the other might not be able to take as much as they are used to. But, talking about the spirit of collaboration, Collette, you had mentioned that these trading cards were sort of a catalyst to the birth of your community. And I know Stacey and I met up through a matchmaking collage group called Friends with Glue. Does anyone have any collaborations that they're looking forward to? Anything planned for the new year?
We've been working more and more with other art organizations in Portland. So there's IPRC is they make zines and they teach workshops there. And then Sharp Hands Gallery, which many of you might know, is an online art gallery where the two people that run it are also members. And we try to collaborate a lot with community groups. Next year, I mean, this is kind of getting announced publicly for the first time. But we're hoping in October to kind of do our own Collage Fest, like New Orleans Collage Fest up in the Pacific Northwest. And our plan is to do workshops, have a big art show, hopefully have people fly out for this. And it's not gonna just be for the Pacific Northwest Collage Collective. And we're really excited about this idea. It's in the works right now. And we're even saying members will open up their homes for people where, maybe staying in a hotel might be a little outside their price range. So just, you can stay in somebody's guest room. But man, we have been it's been brewing for a while. We're just because a lot of us up in the Pacific Northwest, it's hard for us to get down to New Orleans. So it's and it's not trying to take away from that. It's just in addition to Collage Fest. So you can go to both, you can go to one of them, but yeah, and I think we're gonna end up collaborating with a lot of the local groups to make this happen. So I'm excited about that.
During the pandemic, the New York Collage Ensemble started doing some collaborations by sending some accordion books in the mail to each of the members and kind of contributing that way. And one of the things that we decided, in terms of a group of trying to bring people together through community connections and collaborations is, how do we do more collaborations? And we've tried to do some on our Instagram account, New York Collage Ensemble, and then, now as we think about the future and kind of what type of collaborations we can do, we're kind of trying to figure out what would be good pairings, how would we pair people. I recently started joining a photo club meetup group, and so I really want to bring our groups together so we can do some type of collaboration. But of course, we have to meet as a group, and we have to talk about stuff and, and decide what we're going to do. But I think the nice thing about just the practice of collage is it's bringing things together, and you never really know what you're going to bring together. So I like that there's we don't know what we're going to do in terms of collaboration, but I know that I'm sure we'll find some nice collaborations in the future with maybe some of the people on the stage or in this room. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to do all sorts of collaborations. We've had people reach out to us, we just had the Chicago Cultural Center reach out so that we could do their open house this December 21st. If you're in Chicago and near the Art Institute, on Michigan Avenue, we'll be there helping with their open house, doing collage, of course. And we would love to do more workshops with our members, like I was saying before. And then, of course, we're going to work on volume 2 of our magazine. And we might open that up to a few other places besides Chicagoland. So we'll just look out for that open call next year.
It's exciting. Looking forward to seeing everything that we just talked about, especially the Portland Northwest Collage Fest. That should be really something. So, we're here to talk about collage, and obviously, community is what we're centering this around. But what does what we do as communities, how does that shape the art form as a whole, do you think? I know that's a deep question, so we can take a moment.
I have an instinctual answer to this. There are a lot of people in our community that, I can't speak for yours, but you guys might be able to say the same thing. They're dealing with chronic pain and chronic illness. And it is therapy. It is, and for myself as well, who deals with chronic pain. So I really like educating our group and the public about how important the art form is and how accessible it is for all people. And I really feel like people that are dealing with chronic illness and pain are gravitating towards us, and people are telling other people they're going to be accepted into our group, where a lot of times, you know, we're like shunned or put on the outs. And so I don't know if that answers your question specifically, but I did want to share that no matter what, that, you know, like paint, you have to have so many things, and photography, you have to be able to walk a lot, and so, you know, for instance. But collage, you can do it from your bed, you know. You could do it at a table, you could do it on the floor, whatever your needs are. And I'm really proud that our group is really embracing people with disabilities and that need a form of expression. So,
Accessibility.
yeah, crucial.
Yeah. Accessibility in all forms. I mean, we don't charge for our membership. We don't charge for our open calls. These are really important tenets to the Chicago collage community. And, you know, we're doing it out of pocket most of the time. And that's just for the love of collage and bringing the disparate elements together, whether they be people or materials or what have you, is just an amazing thing to witness all the time. And we're hoping to just keep going with that in the future.
Yeah, and I guess the only thing I would add is, you know, as an artist that initially was just working in my own space, when you discover there's a whole other community that kind of get you, even if you work differently or you have different approaches or different context to your work, when you start to see that common thread, it really brings people together from all walks of life. So I think that's been the thing that I've enjoyed it most, is seeing what the community cultivates in terms of the people that show up, the people that reach out, the people that inspire other people, or the people that are teaching people. And so it's great to see people who, I met someone the other night who came to a meetup that I hosted, and she was like, it's always been on my bucket list to collage. And I was like, what? Like, you know, like, and I was like, sit down, we're gonna get you to check that one off. But yeah, you know, everyone's coming from a different place, and it's just such a nice common denominator. You know, well, this isn't like an international panel, but I'm sure and hope I have those conversations with international artists and collectives to hear what they're seeing, to see how it impacts their culture and their community, because I'm sure they'll also see the underlining thread through it. And so I think it's one of those really nice spaces where you don't necessarily find painter meetups, or, you know, so I think it's a nice space to be in, and I'm really grateful to the community and for everyone here that came out to support it.
Yeah, I think it's, just to add, I think that off of what you guys have been saying, collage meets you where you're at, and being such an accessible art form, and the people who come to it can come from all walks of life, like we were talking about, and everyone can do it.
Yeah, it really is so accessible and such a diverse demographic of everybody makes collage, right? But there's also like this commonality and this through line that we all sit down and we're all kind of with, you know, using that same part of our brains. And I feel like when you have a meetup, or, you know, even when we were discussing, we're all on the same page. It's just, it feels like, you know, just the togetherness of it all is beautiful. I think for us, ushering in the next generation of collage artists is deeply important to us. Knowing that perhaps there's somebody at one of our events that may never have collaged before that takes the ball and runs with it. But it's great to build on a legacy that is so new. You know, it is rich in history, and like we had discovered yesterday, you know, goes back centuries. But in the same token, the modern version of this is just so new and fresh, and to be able to be a part of that, especially on a collective level, just feels so great. So I have one more question for the panel before we take questions from you guys. What would you tell someone that wanted to start their own collective? We all sort of like fell into, you know, this organic growth of, oh my God, it went from a meetup to now I'm in Philadelphia. So yeah. What are your tips?
I'll start. Reach out to one of us. You know, like, it was actually really interesting because Christine's co-leader, Charlie, just happened to be coming to Portland, and then was like, I want to start a community in Chicago. And I'm like, hit me up, ask me any questions, you know? And so, you know, I helped a little bit get you guys started, but you guys just took it and ran in the best way possible. But please we are happy to help anybody. Find us on Instagram, email, website, whatever it might be. Talk to us today. We are gonna be happy to help. I would say the way we got started, because we didn't really know many collectives at the time, on Instagram, we tagged other collectives, like Edinburgh Collage Collective that had been around for a while, Brooklyn Collage Collective, so they would promote us. Also, we were looking on Instagram for people that were hashtagging collage in Portland. And it was just like, all right, and then we started reaching out to them like, hey, we're starting this thing. I would say social media is pretty powerful. Try to seek out people and use us as resources.
Yeah, I'd second that. Feel free to reach out. But also, I think if you're someone who feels like you'd like to be part of a collective, but that idea feels too big, just find a friend and meet somewhere at their house, at your kitchen table, and just start. Like, there's no right or wrong way to do it. You may set out with the intention to create a community or not. So if the idea of creating a community sounds too daunting, just start small, grab a friend, grab a cup of coffee, you know, start working together. Or go big and just do what I did. I just moved to a new neighborhood and I just put up signs because the neighborhood I live in still has community boards where people put up posters and signs. So I put signs up, and now I know 12 new people in the neighborhood because, you know, they saw some signs. So don't feel afraid to just put a sign up, you know, like a physical sign, since we're all paper people. Well, you know, mostly we love paper. And social media is always a good place to put things and connect with other people. You know, it might seem like a daunting thing to do, but it's, you know, just start, take one step, you know. And even if it's just you sitting in a cafe working, someone may come up and say, are you working in a cafe? And then you're like, pull up a seat, work with me. Here's some glue.
Yeah, I mean, I know when I went to Collage Fest this year, somebody from St. Louis talked to me about starting a community there. They had just recently done so. And they said they weren't kind of inspired by us, and we're inspired by you guys, and so I don't think that it's beyond anybody to just plant a flag, like I was saying before, and people will gather around it because it's a beautiful thing.
And collage people are the coolest people. Yeah. I mean, let's just say, you know, we got to be real.
If you surround yourself with people that are like-minded, it'll be easier to work with them.
No, it's true. Or just convert your friends into collage artists. Anybody can pick up an X-Acto blade or a scissor and get going. That's the beauty of the art form, is it really has it's a very small barrier of entry. So, yeah. Can we answer any questions?
Do you find, well, the question is, how do you balance the social aspect with getting things done? You know, making work, is that a difficult challenge with meetups and things?
Could you repeat your question again? Because I have to say it for the video.
How do you balance the social aspect, maybe therapy in some cases, with the making of work?
How to balance the social aspect with making work?
Right, I mean, and you're all organizers, right? Mm-hmm. So you're sort of having to...
Well, I know when I throw a meetup or a function, I never end up collaging. I'm too busy saying hi or welcoming people or trying to get to know new faces or welcoming friends that I've seen before. So it's hard to turn that switch off and get in the zone. But I kind of hunker down in the studio when I'm ready to make my own work. But what about you guys?
I think I'm a little bit different. I really want to be collaging at the meetup, but I also, my partner is not disabled, and so we have conversations of like, hey, either I'll need to show up late just to take care of my health, But also, he'll be like, you know what, I got the social aspect. I'll greet people, you just sit, and like, you know, people can come to you if they have questions. And so I like to be, and I'm also an art educator. And like one of the important things is sitting amongst the students and like letting them see you work, and then I can help them as well. So that's my instinct. So yeah, I'll sit and collage with everybody. It is hard though, because you want to say hi to everybody, and like you're just so excited because, you know, all your favorite people are in one room. But yeah, I have to make sure for my health that I sit down and relax, and then it's like, oh, a blade and some paper, let's go, you know? For me, it's actually, that's a way for me to control my pain, is to make sure I sit down and get collaging. Yeah.
And I guess, well, for me, like, I have to make that separate time, like Jake, for my studio practice. When I bring communities together, or when we're together as a group, I'm also socializing or hanging out, or maybe I'll like look through papers and maybe take some stuff and put it in my bag for later. But you know, one of the things that I always do like about the meetups is that because a lot of people are like-minded, and there's definitely some more introverted people like me there, is that there's like this sea of like chatter, work, chatter, work. So you never have to feel like you're struggling to like connect with someone. You're like, I'm gonna just start cutting and gluing now so I don't have to talk to anyone. And I think it's just like an understood thing for people in that space. And that's one of the things that I appreciated it. So if you do show up somewhere and you feel like I'm not getting anything done, you know, just set that as your expectation for showing up. And, or if you're one of those people who show up and just start working, because you thrive in that type of environment, you like just kind of like poke around and see what other people are doing, like whatever way you can make work, and feel like you have a balance of it being work and social, then that is a good way to go.
Yeah, I have a really hard time collaging in public. So I don't know what it is, but I have a really hard time at the meetups actually collaging. I do a lot of sourcing at the meetups, but no collaging for the most part. I have to do it in private, and that comes at a very integrated parts of my life because of being a mom, being a librarian, and and managing the Chicago collage community itself. So not a lot of time for studio practice, but I try.
And can I just add something, and I'm sure we can all agree about this. If you do start a collective, greeting people and working the room is actually really important. Making people feel welcome. You know, they come in the door, and it can be really overwhelming to see a group of people. A lot of them might know each other, and then you've got a new person coming in. So taking that time to say, welcome, we're so happy you're here, is really, really important. So at least in your leadership, having at least one person that's making sure that everybody feels welcome when they come in the room, I think is important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you gotta have that person.
Yeah.
See a hand over there.
Mine is more nuts and bolts question. It's about basic supplies. To have supplies for a classroom teacher, 20 people, or even how do you all go about acquiring those supplies? And two, also the ephemera that people are cutting out. You're like schlepping lots of.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the back of my Subaru is a collage bin, and we just, when we have a little bit of extra cash, we start buying scissors, we start buying glue, which dries up after a while, and the ephemera, what we found through being around for 2 years is that people reach out to us about the ephemera. They're like, I've got a bunch of stuff that I don't want anymore. Would you guys take it? And like I said, back of my Subaru is just an ephemera treasure chest, basically.
It's a great idea for a meetup. Just meet up in a parking lot and everybody, like trunk or treat, but for collage. I think we had a few more.
So I'm curious as to what you're thinking about in terms of interaction with schools, not art schools per se. You could already be largely familiar with art schools, but
So the question was, how do we collaborate with schools, not necessarily collegiate level or even high school, but K through, well, 12 would be high school as well. I think, you know, there's a lot of educators within this space, and we often get opportunities to do things like workshops with different organizations, so I think that's a great way to collaborate with them. We did a workshop with a charter school that went really well. We didn't advertise that because that was just for them. But, you know, these sort of things kind of pop up, and, you know, as you grow a community, you find educators and people that want to help spread that mission.
And yeah, as an art educator myself, I've brought in some of our members to teach my kids. So like Clive Knights came in and taught like an architectural and collage lesson to and it was a collaboration too, which was really cool. So they work on a piece and then pass it to the right, and the next person would add stuff to it, and for high schoolers to let go of their piece, you know, was like
or full-grown adults, it's not easy.
Anybody. And like, I feel like your question, I don't know about you guys, but it's inspiring me to maybe connect with some more art teachers and see how maybe we can get more into the community, because we all want more people collaging. And I know as an art educator that students, when I teach them collage, it takes them to another world. It, again, accessible, it's therapy. How many of my students with anxiety really enjoy collage once I teach them? Because they can express themselves and how they're feeling. So to me, that's an inspiring question. How can we reach out into our schools more? And I know as an art educator, if somebody came to me, I'd be like, come on, you know, work with my kids. Yeah.
So we have about 5 minutes left, which means maybe 2 more questions if we're quick.
Two comments and a question. I also have a hard time collaging in a group, but I have my policy, which is when I join a group, I just make portraits of the people around the table.
Oh, cool.
That's how I am able to produce something. My general comment about this whole movement is that, you know, we're in a time of great polarization and a time where there is, you know, the epidemic of loneliness, and it seems to me that what all of you are doing is really kind of creating antidotes to these problems, and that is what's so beautiful about what's going on, that there's, you know, people from all walks of life who are sitting shoulder to shoulder and doing something together. So, you know, yay for that. And sort of the flip side, which is my question, is you've all started, this is all like since the pandemic, every one of you is doing this relatively recently. What do you think it is about this moment where this is all like taken off? Why now?
Well, I think it's 2 things, if I had to guess. One would be the use of social media. Obviously, social media has been around for, you know, a decade and a half at least. But collage is becoming more and more popular and trendy within that. And then also, I think, you know, as we sort of, you're right, we're in this age where community is more important than ever. And it's, you know, these are the things that make us human. And slowly I feel like, you know, like you said the loneliness epidemic and the feelings of isolation, but like, and we're more social than ever, which is weird. I think really it's the microphone of collage becoming more popular, and then it's also the accessibility of that steam that it's picked up. So once something gets bigger and you see, oh, other people are doing it, it's, you know, institutions now want to partner more and more. You have collage workshops in every arts center imaginable. So I would say the rise in popularity and also just the way that things are going socially.
Yeah, and then to your point, people need it, right? People need it more now than ever because of all the reasons that we kind of, you alluded to it and we've kind of talked about. So I'm glad more people are finding it, and I think more people are finding it probably through social media and like, oh, people meet up and do this thing? Oh, that's pretty cool. I want to do that too. And you know, so yeah.
I think it's a reaction to COVID too, because we were so isolated. I know for me, I wanted people. I'm an extrovert, and it was just like, I want to bring people together because we've been so isolated. So, right? So bringing a group together is just a beautiful thing right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One more quick one. Jane?
Yeah, I think, the answer to why collage now, I think, is also, it's the gestalt of this world that we're living in. I mean, we are in a broken world. All of our traditions, all of our institutions, all of our expectations for what life was going to be like are all falling apart. And collage lets us work with that. We can work with those pieces and recreate them in new ways. I think it's just the perfect medium for this time.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the start of modern collage, right, because stemming from like around World War I and then the trauma that surrounded that and the turbulence within that, it only makes sense that in these turbulent and odd times that we find ourselves living in, that this, continues to grow more rapidly. I hope on the other end of that, Dadaism and absurdism and the mentality surrounding that continues to grow as well. That's what I'm personally most excited about. But I believe we better wrap up because we are on a tight timeline. But thank you, everyone, for doing this.
Convene at 10:45 with Annette Segal coming in from Ukraine. Again, the restrooms are down on the first floor. Men, there's an accessible one, and women's on the first floor. Go all the way down to the basement, and the men's restroom is down there. Any drinks, please make sure you keep the cover on when you're on the top on it when you're on the second floor up here. And we will see you back in 15 minutes.